this woke thing, it's a very strange idea, isn't it? It seems to go into cul-de-sac. It seems to be going to it's gone into a cul-de-sac. We want to be this thing, but we can't quite define what it is. It's very difficult to. They can't define it. The problem with the woke culture is it says it's woke, so it's a waking up to the reality. It's actually they're waking up into the reality that's being created for them by media, by upbringing, by peer pressure, all the things that go on to that bend the development of a person from a fetus or before the genetics predetermine certain aspects of everyone's being, but then after that it's nurturing by the mother and father. If there's no father, then you've got a different type of nurturing altogether. It's slightly unbalanced because there's only a female bringing the child up if it's a male or a female. So you got these things, and then so there is then the inference that can be put on and create a sort of a psychological dissidence upon people. So when they grow up, they haven't had an ideal male role model, like my father's my male role model, and so my uncles. And their male role models will never be as manly as they were, because they're all into the wars and all into the army and all stuff like that, and work down the pit and stuff like that. But nonetheless, they were role models that I look up to, and that hope to somehow parody them. So if you haven't had that in your childhood, and you've grown up, so you get too old and you want to become a woman, I personally have got nothing against it, really. I can't say if people want to be a woman and opt out of the breeding cycle, and they're not offered them services as a breeding male, and off out of the breeding cycle and reduce the world's population by doing this way, well, fine. It's fine. That's fine by me. I can see what's going on. We're reducing the breeding population by inducing this peer pressure, peer arrange and media arrange, getting little groups and all. We're into this woke thing because we're awake and everyone's asleep, according to the woke people. But unless you can actually define it, scientifically define this woke, then yourselves, to give yourselves a grounding, a foundation. Woke is not, in fact, it's not a foundation of thought. It's founded in scientific precepts. What can then help you can develop the side of people that become woke for reasons I've already said, through their nurturing and how they're brought and their education, etc., and the pressure from media as well. They lean to absorbing what comes through the screens. But these people can't actually define themselves scientifically. And this is where they let themselves down. When I listen to all the arguments on YouTube between the wokes and the other people who are countering it with very clever arguments, it's obvious to me that the biggest thing they're missing is skill in social intercourse. They don't have the skill to articulate clearly to themselves what they actually stand for. They get tongue-tied. You ask them to put any facts on the table to back up their thoughts, and it's all sorts of woke goes across the whole paradigm, various paradigms of people. It doesn't affect everyone the same. It's a sort of a undefinable cultural thing. And it seems to go into and because it can't define itself, it cannot say, unless people are saying, I want to be a woman, and I'm a man, and you'll respect me for that. Fine, I don't care. Actually, respect. You earn respect by acting in a respectful manner when you're in public. That's one way of earning respect. Not by saying, I demand your respect because now I'm a woman, because women don't get respect when they start carrying on like that either. You've got to be a lady first before you get the respect of society, usually. A full respect. We respect females in general, but to get a full respect really is about behaviour, isn't it? Whether you are a male dressed up as a female, or a male that has become a woman by choice, or a female that's become a man by choice, but wants to take on the role of a male by choice. But the point about it is, you cannot get out of this cul-de-sac. So it turned on itself. It's turning on. It seems to have then lacked creativity, which is a creativity creates humour. Creativity creates humour, and then what they do to amuse themselves is to turn upon society itself. The society, well, let's say it is not actually a woke society. The society is like to say, hang on, whoa, this is woke is threatening children, and and mothers have every right. No one can take the right of a mother away from to protect her children. No one, no politician, no policeman, no court in the world can take away the right of a woman to protect their children from whatever they see, wherever they see the right to protect their children from, wherever danger threatens their children, women should be able to have the natural right, nurturing right, the biological right, the right of that founds all civilization, is bound up in the woman being able to protect children and go through to nurture it. And then after that, kids are supposed to be nurtured by male children when they're 7 should be nurtured by males, so they turn out to be half decent blokes. But when there's so many absent fathers in the world, therefore you've got a whole field of mouldable people who are then moulded by not having the male role model, having a second, third generation of single motherhood. It's left a lot of big hole. There's a big hole there. I call it. It's probably a lack of love, really. What comes from that solid love in a balanced household, where it's a biological male and biological female. One can produce sperm, one can produce milk after having a baby, which is very simple. No one can deny that. Is a very simple definition of what a man and a woman is in its natural sense. What it is in its social sense is a different construct altogether. And this is where the people, because the woke aren't defining themselves in any way, they're making a lot of noise and not making much sense. And this is where they are becoming, Hollywood going broke because it keeps going woke. And now if Hollywood had any brains, it'd make a movie about woke and Hollywood wants to make a movie, make it about making a woke movie. Make the whole thing, show the directors and everyone making this movie and show the movie as it's being made. Make a movie about being woke. The whole progress of woke, the progressiveness of woke, into a movie, and it's got to be the next best thing after Monty Python. It's got to be that go woke, go broke. Could be a really, really biggest hit Hollywood movie of all time because we're all going to watch it. I mean, that is something we would watch because it would be absolutely hilarious. And if you can't stand being laughed at, right? If you don't want to be funny, best way to get on the world is instead of taking offence when people might not like why you're masquerading as a woman, your take on women might be a bit garish. It's not very attractive. It's not like looking like the average housewife's one thing, but looking like someone out of a pantomime with all that amazing amount of makeup on is another thing altogether. So you see, it's not being against this. It's not new. Men in drag is not new. It's basically men in drag. That's what it is. The men who are doing all the makeup on and stuff, that's men in drag. There's other guys who are just ordinary homosexuals, just carry on normally without all this kerfuffle. They're not into all the kerfuffle either. But it's good to note that in Roman times, a man called Sulla, a great dictator of Rome, is one of the hardest bastards ever lived. He was into loving boys, and so was Adrian who built Adrian's Wall. He was a great soldier. Some people I really respect in history. They love boys, so it's not about saying, oh, you're prejudiced or you've got this, you're not into woke. I don't care. I don't care what people choose to be. Want to get to the age of maturity, 18 years old, or 16 and 17, 18 years old, whatever you like, and you can argue either way. And they want to be that. If they're going to, and it takes a lot of people who are not suitable to be parents because they've had 3 generations of single parents. So they're not really, they've lost what would make them good parents. So I totally in agreement with it reduces the breeding population for a start. And that's not a bad thing. You're going to the reducing the population this way that's what it's. I see the aim of it is to take a lot of people out. You don't want a lot of totally irresponsible people haven't had the defining every education. If you don't want them all bringing more children into the world, so if you take them out of all the people who woke, not many of them maybe having babies, and that's not a bad thing because that saves having abortions. And it saves if you don't get pregnant, or you're a man that's no longer going to make women pregnant because you're trying to make men pregnant or a lady friend pregnant. Well, that to me is not a bad thing. I think I see holistically, or I try to look at these things holistically rather than look at it from one side or the other. I try to look at what's the real grist of the matter, grist for the mill, if you like, and you put it through the mincer and see what's really going on here. So if it's a matter of reducing the breeding population when we don't need so many people, because AI is certainly going to replace the people in working in so many different interests, so many fields of employment are going to be taken over by AI. Everything from banking to oil refining to you name it, there's not going to be much left. If once AI gets stuck into it and robots really right now by now too, you could certainly replace all the politicians in the world with a robot, and you'd be better off. If you had the right people programming a robot, depends what. And then let's argue about what would be the right person to program the robot. But those people who control the robots will program them the way they want them, and then the robots are now programming themselves, so the robots are now the next stage in actual evolution, and they won't give a damn because they're going to become a species of their own. To speciate, the natural fact of this is any evolutionist will know that robots themselves will compete with humans. So actually, maybe they're doing it now, and we can't quite tell because we're out in the sticks. You're not influenced by much at all, other than a little bit of media influences you. But what you know, trying to conclude, if a person can't tell, you take clothes off people, a man and a woman, you take the clothes off them. You can't tell the difference between one and other. There's something wrong with education. So there, you have to be blind. And if you were blind, you could go and have a feel. And so even a blind person could tell the difference between a naked man and a naked woman. Let's face it. So if you want to put a clothes on, woman's clothes on, and dress yourself as a lady, who cares? Look, they're in Thailand, all them lady boys, they're going mad about it in Thailand. They've been in it for years, and everyone thinks it's funny. So it's not that we are against that. I don't care. When it starts to become a force, what starts to attack women, all they want to do is protect the children, and men have got a right to protect their families, and biological right. It's more than that. It's a natural, instinctive right to protect the children of what their fathers and mothers, their social culture on their own, and they've got a right to protect their children. As I say, it's nothing to do with religion. Religion is only a cover story for it. All religion is, everyone wants to blame religion, Muslims and Christians now because they're not into woke, but that's just a cover story. All that is an umbrella. You put a shelter over yourself. We're Christians, we're Muslims, we live like this because we believe in this, etc., etc. Whether you believe in God or not, that's up to you. I don't care about that either. But I know that religion itself is a cover story, and it allows people to live in some sort of society where they've got lots in common with lots of other people, which is all the woke people have got something in common. They seem to have something in common amongst themselves, but I don't know what it is. I'm not quite sure what it is they've got in common intellectually, because I've never heard much by the way of intellectuality coming from them, what it denotes or gives me any insight to if they have any understanding of what they are actually all about. My suggestion is population control. Would you want all the woke people having babies? It's a good question.